It happened in broad daylight, not in the shadows, not in the middle of the night, but just before 5 p.m. when people were still outside, when businesses were still open, when the streets were still alive, and in a matter of seconds, everything changed. A car pulls up, no warning, no argument, no time to react, just gunfire. When it was over, 3 people were dead, one more fighting to survive, and the people responsible gone. But what makes this case unsettling is not just how it happened, it's where it happened and who may be connected to it. Because once you start digging deeper, the shooting doesn't feel random at all.
Certainly a lot of frustration from people we've talked to in this community tonight, just fed up with this gun violence. This shooting happened in broad daylight right at a barber shop here on North Pulaski, where police say a vehicle pulled up, 2 armed offenders got out and fired several shots. Family members gathered at the scene of a shooting in West Garfield Park today with heavy emotions as they try to comprehend the loss of their loved ones. Chicago police responded to West Maypole and North Pulaski just before 5 o'clock, where 4 people were shot near a barber shop. 3 people in their 30s died from their injuries, and a 35-year-old man was rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
They out here killing other people's kids. But do they not realize they have kids, they have siblings, they have cousins, they have aunties, they have uncles? And y'all study out here just taking other people's children? This is crazy.
Shay Jackson says her cousin is one of the victims who was killed in this shooting.
We talked to one officer the one who tried to save him. He stated that when he got to him, he was on his stomach. He tried to turn him over and help him, but there was no saving him.
Jackson says she has now lost several family members to gun violence in Chicago and is pleading for officials and parents to do more to stop it.
Some way, somehow, they're getting these guns in here. And their guns are better than the police guns. And it's ridiculous. Y'all need to figure out a way to control this gun violence.
At this time, police have not announced any arrests as the investigation continues.
Friday afternoon, near North Pulaski Road and West Maypole Avenue. A normal day until it wasn't. 4 people were standing near a sidewalk, talking, waiting, existing in a moment that would soon be their last. Then a car pulled up. Witnesses say there were at least 2 people inside, armed, and within seconds, shots rang out. No hesitation, no pause, just a sudden explosion of violence that shattered the silence of the block. When it stopped, 3 lives were gone. A 32-year-old woman, a 27-year-old man, and a 36-year-old man. Another victim, a 35-year-old man, was left clinging to life. And just like that, the shooters disappeared, leaving behind nothing but chaos and a crime scene that didn't add up.
3 victims have now been identified in a deadly shooting in West Garfield Park. 32-year-old Rickia Williams, 27-year-old Kenneth M Jr., and 36-year-old Lavell Lee were all killed. Police say at least 2 gunmen opened fire on a group near Maypole and Pulaski, leaving another person critically injured. One victim's cousin says people are fed up with the violence.
They out here killing other people's kids. But do they not realize they have kids, they have siblings, they have cousins, they have aunties, they have uncles? And y'all study out here just taking other people's children?
Crime Stoppers is offering up to $10,000 for information leading to arrests.
As the dust settled, the names began to surface. Rickia Williams, Kenneth M Jr., Lavell Lee. 3 people, 3 lives with stories that don't fit into a headline. But here's where things start to feel different, because this wasn't just a shooting. This was precise, targeted, executed in a way that suggests intent, not randomness. And when something like this happens in the middle of the day, in a city that's seen it all, people start asking questions. Was this retaliation, a message, or something deeper? Something tied to a bigger story unfolding behind the scenes? Investigators moved quickly. The area was filled with surveillance cameras, businesses, homes, corners that see everything, even when people don't talk. Because that's the problem. People saw what happened, but not everyone is willing to speak. Authorities say the shooters were still out there. No arrest, no clear motive, just a growing sense that someone knows more than they're saying. Crime Stoppers stepped in. Up to $10,000 offered for information. Anonymous tips encouraged. But even with money on the table, the silence remains. And in cases like this, silence can be just as loud as the gunshots.
New information on a mass shooting that killed 3 people on Chicago's west side. Among the victims was a 32-year-old woman, and Crime Stoppers is now offering a reward in the case. It happened in Garfield Park yesterday evening just before 5 p.m. NBC5's V Win is live with what we know about the victims. Hey, V.
Hey there, Randy. So we now know the names of the victims killed. Chicago police say they were gunned down by 2 possible shooters. The victims were standing outside when Chicago police say someone pulled up, got out, and started shooting in their direction. So these are their names. The victims have been identified as 32-year-old Rickia Williams, 27-year-old Kenneth M, and 36-year-old Lavell Lee. Williams was shot in the head. The others shot multiple times. A 4th victim remains in critical condition at the hospital. So the shooting happened near Pulaski Road and Maypole Avenue, just steps from a convenience store and a barber shop. A neighbor told me she heard the rapid gunfire and described it as a war zone. She and her husband, along with their 3 children, ducked for cover. She was able to peek out her window and saw 3 gunmen running from Pulaski down the street to Maypole, where they fired shots, striking 4 people. Police recovered dozens of shell casings at the scene. The neighbor tells me she's heard gunshots in the past, but nothing to this magnitude. She fears for her safety and asked us not to show her face on camera.
Everybody's getting down, not understanding that it's literally, on our block. So it was very scary. The ladies are crying, the men are, screaming. It was, the community is feeling this shooting for sure. For me, it's like, do we need to move? Because, you don't want to think about that. Thinking about what comes next, right? Because you always hear about retaliation.
So I did get a chance to speak with the owner of that barber shop nearby. He confirmed one of his barbers was hurt while running from this shooting. They were reopened today as police continue their investigation. At this time, Area 4 detectives are still investigating. There's no word yet on a motive or description of the possible shooters involved.
West Garfield Park, a neighborhood with layers, history, alliances, tensions, and names that carry weight. One of those names, Bgang, also known as Blood Gang, a set tied to traveling vice lords and four-corner hustlers, operating around West End and Karlov. But that's just the surface, because Bgang isn't just one name. It branches out: K-Unit, Harlem Boys, Millie Gang, Spy Nem, 4100. Different names, same roots, and connections that stretch beyond just one block. They're known to be aligned with another group, BTBG or Baby T Blood Gang.
On stuff like I'm keeping I was with it, but on stuff like they pulled up on, they say, hey Bill, you gonna get Morris Shane back?
DCG is something dissing y'all over here.
They ain't never played with us. They was trying to play with us back in like 2019. And I be respecting my head. I'm keep on I tweak last year. I'm about to be the old lady up. Don't come through. We got them out. We got the bang out of the Don't forget we glitchy gang.
Man, they don't let Spank take over the video.
They didn't let Spank take over the video.
In Humboldt Park. And when you start mapping out these connections, you begin to see something bigger, something structured, something that doesn't move randomly. Over the years, Bgang has taken losses, more than a dozen, dating back to 2010 and continuing into recent years. Names that don't always make headlines, but leave impact where it matters most. One case stood out: a 17-year-old known as Lil Sean, also called S4. He was walking through a parking lot, not hiding, not running, just walking, when a car pulled up, shots fired, multiple hits. He didn't make it. His shoes left behind in that parking lot. A detail that sticks, a detail that people remember. Another loss, another name added to a growing list. And when you look at that list, you start to ask yourself, how many of these incidents are connected and how many are still unfolding?
New at 10, this Jewel Osco parking lot covered with shell casings after a teenage boy was shot to death. Chicago police say the 17-year-old was shot multiple times outside the store near Ashland and Roosevelt on the near west side. The victim took himself to Stroger Hospital where he died. Tonight, the shooter is still on the loose.
Back to the shooting. 4 people standing together. Daylight, a pull-up, multiple shooters. No arrests, no answers. At least not publicly. But when you place that incident alongside everything else, the affiliations, the past losses, the location, it begins to feel less like an isolated event and more like a piece of something ongoing, something that doesn't stop, even when the headlines fade. Because in situations like this, the story doesn't end at the scene. It continues in ways most people never see. 3 lives lost, 1 still fighting. In a city left with questions. Who were the real targets? Why that moment? Why that location? And most importantly, what happens next? Because if history has shown anything, it's that moments like this are rarely the end of the story. They're just the beginning. Alright, y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the story of the mass shooting out west in Chicago, man. 2 Bgang members lose their lives, a female who was with them, and there's another person fighting for his life. Get in that comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we outside trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!